You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense. Hello, you and you, but not you. You smell of apples. How are you? Oh, really? Oh, that's a shame. I think making your hair look like a giant bum really suits you. I don't care what the haters say, and I think when you go back to school, everyone will love it. Sorry, I mean, welcome to a bonus episode of Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense. You see, when we recorded the 6 episodes you've hopefully heard with all the fantastic comedians, there was a lot of extra nonsense that we couldn't fit into them, as otherwise you'd have been listening for so long you'd have turned 100 years old, and then you wouldn't have been able to listen anymore, because that's the law, okay? Deal with it, 100-year-olds. Just stop it. Some of the extra nonsense was, of course, total rubbish, like someone just coughing or burping or boring bits like, we're recording now, even though we already were recording and no one had told me because no one tells me anything. But some of the extra nonsense was superb and very silly bonkersness that I felt you, the loyal under 100-year-old listenership, deserved to hear. So, enjoy this mix of farting babies, dinosaur dentists, non-cheese and fish holidays, and hopefully it'll give you some extra giggles. Have some of this in your ears! Radio Nonsense! Okay, I've got another 2, and then if you 2 have any, but let's go for this. Would you rather, every time you farted, your bum played your most hated song, or every time you had a shower or a bath, instead of water, it was old baked beans that came out?
Old baked beans every time.
Really? You'd prefer that to farting your least favourite song?
Okay, we'll deal with that in a second. When you say old baked beans, do you mean baked beans that have been consumed already, or you just mean they're past their sell-by date?
They're just really old. Like, I mean, I don't know. To be fair, they're just old, stinky baked beans. Like, they have been, like, hanging around for a long time.
Do they come with the tomato sauce?
Yeah, I think so. And they're just pouring out your shower or out your bath, and that's the only thing you can wash in ever in your life ever.
And the problem is, like, the song I hate most in the world is Don't Stop Believing by Journey, which is an absolute aberration against mankind. It's terrible.
Listeners, if you are too young to know that, which you might be, please do go look it up and then play it whenever you're near Ben.
Oh, please don't. Please don't. The thought of farting and just having that hollow, air-punching aberration of a song blasting out between my cheeks like they're some sort of 1980s ghetto blaster, I refuse to countenance. I would be more embarrassed to fart that in a lift with the Queen and Prince Philip than if I were to fart in a lift with them normally. Be awful, be horrible.
I mean, the thing is, the idea of you farting and it's suddenly going, don't stop believing. I mean, that is very funny to me. That's very funny. But fair enough, you've made your choice. Ada, what would your choice be?
I'm torn, I'll be honest with you, I'm torn. Because I love baked beans. I don't have a problem with old things. Lots of vitamin C in the tomatoes. However, I think it might be safer and less smelly to fart a song. But partly because everybody's wearing earphones, so they probably wouldn't hear me. But of the 2, I'm going to pick the baked beans as well, actually. I think I will pick the baked beans.
Okay, and is that because you particularly like old baked beans?
Not particularly, but I don't dislike them. Not yet. I probably would if I had to constantly bathe in them.
I mean, it's also very lucky that this is a would you rather, because if you constantly had to bathe in baked beans, chances are you're probably going to consume a few, you might then fart more, and then what if you had both of these afflictions? You'd end up always farting your least favourite song.
Could I ask a question? Is there a loophole in this? As in, if I join a gymnasium and I go and have a shower there, does that shower me with beans? Or can I have a shower with water at the gym?
No.
And the beans are just at home?
Always beans.
Oh, well. Still beans, then.
Fair enough. Good. I think you've both dealt with this very diplomatically. I'm very impressed. I mean, on the basis of being a history unearther, this is a question that I wanted to ask you because for the listeners, a history unearther obviously is my way of saying an archaeologist. And Paul is one of them archaeologists. And I heard, now you can tell me if this is true, that once you dug so far down that you found a worm and it was really old.
Oh, yeah, it was a very old worm. Little beard. Very wise worm. Asked it any question and it knew the answer, but it couldn't speak English. It was very difficult to get any of the facts out of it.
Do you know what language it was speaking?
Worm. And I'm sorry, but I only did it to GCSE. Yeah, so I could ask it where the bibliothèque was, and that was it. And it would just wriggle, point me in the direction of a library. Very cool.
Yeah, that
Wise.
is very cool. I wish I don't really know any worm. I think the basic I got when I was sort of visiting Wormington, I learned how to say hello, which I think is.
Oh,
I think that's it, isn't it? I think that's it. But I'm not sure if that's right.
It's just the way you're pronouncing it. It's a very funny accent.
Sure, I know, because I'm not a worm and I don't have the wriggling to go with the noises.
I believe your introduction line was a bit of worm as well, wasn't it?
There was, the wriggle, I like acorns, and that's why that was actually. We don't know who sent that in. It's very possible it was a worm.
Yeah,
I don't know how they'd have written it with the pen that they wrote it in, but worms have got a lot of skills.
Yeah, they're very, very skillful. But yes, I did find one. I dug down almost 30 centimetres and found a worm there. And it was just nice to be able to share a space with such a noble creature.
Well, that's lovely. That's really beautiful. And if there are any worms listening, I just want you to know that you are welcome to this show. Unless you're over 100 years old, in which case, get out. But all less than 100-year-old worms, very welcome.
On that Lion's Wee thing, I had to have 2 showers this morning because after I got out of my shower, I was moving my cat. And cats have a thing like a skunk. They have a thing in their bum where if they get scared, they spray smell on you. And my cat didn't see me coming behind it, and I was moving it off my T-shirt, and it panicked, and it sprayed at my arm, and I had to get back in the shower.
That's really horrible.
Yeah.
I also feel like I'd really enjoy it more. When you go into like a store or like in an airport or something, people spray perfume at you.
If it came out of a cat.
Yeah, if they just had a cat that they'd fed specifically, like maybe that curry or Lion's Wee or whatever to, and then they just sprayed a cat at you.
And you could lift its tail, and it would go... Tss, tss.
Yeah, and then it would leave...
tabby.
And then it would leave a mark.
Hey!
Oh, there we go. I just thought we'd bring it back to the question of mark there.
My parents are also, they're anteater beef eaters, but they're vegan.
Right. So that means they only eat vegan ants?
Yes.
Right. What are they made of?
They're made of, it's called non-cheese.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like anti-cheese.
Made from nuns, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, everything is non-cheese that isn't cheese at the end of the day.
Yes.
This table is non-cheese.
Yes, well, that'd be
No,
fine. Her parents could
that
eat them.
table is cheese.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah,
you're right,
you've
actually.
been very mistaken.
That is a massive piece of Stilton.
Yes.
How did you get that in
It'd
there?
be quite... Well, we've got grocery artists in, you see, and this is the sort of thing that they do.
Wow.
Just the cheese table.
I underestimated your skills.
I know, they're very, very good. So his thing is, if we did holidays all the time, how would you know you were on holiday still?
Exactly. There's no holiday without not being on holiday. There's no, fun without not fun.
I'm not saying you have to be on holiday all the time. I'm just saying 6 or 7 or 9 would be more exciting than 2.
But for how long?
Oh, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 days. I absolutely agree. Over 10 and you forget where your head is.
Who you are.
You start rolling around. You don't have breakfast. It's all just dinner.
You just are on holiday.
You're
the
never
whole
not
time.
wet.
Yeah.
There's no point in having a bath because you've been in the sea all day.
Yeah, and
my
then also
goodness.
you will run out of money.
Well, hang on. This brings up some very interesting things. If
And
you're never not in the
peanuts.
sea, does that mean fish are always on holiday?
No, because it's the same as when you go on holiday to a country where other people find it their home. It's effectively, the sea is like Portugal for everyone else.
For fish.
So when fish have a holiday, do they have to come out onto the land?
Yeah, when fish get caught by fishermen, when they hold them up.
Yeah.
And they sort of take a photo, that is a holiday for a fish.
That's a weekend break, yeah.
Yeah, they love it.
I mean, but they enjoy that, do they? Because
Yeah, yeah.
they don't look that happy. In all the pictures, they're sort of like, meh.
Yeah, but
No, that's their version of smiling.
yeah, fish smile
it?
by going, brr. That's what they do.
Opening their mouths.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
right.
And they actually, and fish actually want to be on people's sort of mantelpieces. They want sort of photos of them. That's their equivalent of being on like
Instagram.
Oh, I see.
yeah.
So like when you see like tourists taking loads of pictures of stuff, that's what fish want to... It's their selfie.
That's why they jump up out of the sea.
Yeah, yeah.
And
yeah.
they do it again and again and again because they're so frustrated. We're not quick enough to catch them.
Yeah.
Sure, and they want to get the right angles as well, don't they? Want it from the good side, and then they can put filters on it and
Yeah.
stuff.
They want to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
sure they look properly slippery.
Sure, that makes sense. That makes
Slick.
sense. Bec, fan of gassy pets?
Yes, definitely. But I had pet birds when I was growing up, like pet budgies and stuff. So if they farted too much, then they would poop, and they'd poop on your head as they flew over you.
Do birds fart as musically as they tweet?
I can't say I ever heard them fart, but I'm assuming they did.
I just sort of wonder if they fart by going like, and that's a...
Oh, yeah, that'd be so pretty if you wake up in the morning, when you hear birds, that's not them tweeting out their mouths. That's them tweeting out their bottoms.
I mean, there's every chance that the dawn chorus is actually just a lot of birds.
Bum chorus.
Absolutely, the bum chorus. There you go. Maybe just every morning, because everyone's a bit farty in the morning, aren't they? And maybe just in the morning, first thing, all those birds are just like, oh, a bit farty.
Yeah.
And it's just, but it sounds beautiful. That would be wonderful. Jay, how about you? Fan of gassy pets?
I'm just mesmerised by the thought of what birds would sound like if they farted everywhere they went, and that would be the new dawn chorus.
I think it would be beautiful, wouldn't it?
Yeah. We had a cat that never used to make fart noises at all. I'm quite jealous.
You didn't? Did your cat fart though?
No, but well, she used to make smells, but we never heard anything.
Oh, so it could have been concocting potions or
For all we
a
know,
weird
the
line
smell
of aromatherapy, whatever.
Yeah, for all we know, the smell wasn't even coming from the cat.
Oh no, that's somebody blamed it on the cat.
I think my pet that farted the most was my brother.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah.
Well,
He wasn't even tame. It was terrible. We used to put newspaper down. And he's 25.
Wow. It's but I think that's fair. In our flat now, our most farty pet is our baby daughter, and she is quite incredible at it. Definitely, adult-sounding farts from a tiny baby is something that's quite terrifying.
Wow.
Can I hear a sample? What do they sound like?
Like big adult farts, but from a tiny baby.
Wow.
And it's really impressive. And
What
she
other
looks
types of
very
farts
pleased
does
with
she do?
herself. Some of those, like...
Well, they're the ones you got to be careful of.
They are the ones you got to
She
be
done a
careful of.
squeaky one yet?
Lots of squeaky ones. It's a full range of effects, which you think is something you have to learn as a human, but it turns out that we've got it innate.
Are you sure she's a baby and not a novelty keychain?
It's a very good question, actually. Very
Has
good
she ever
question.
done a staccato fart? You know, when it's lots of little ones like this.
That's when she's older and she's running.
Yeah.
That's exactly how you know she's pooed. There's definite differences. There's so many skills I'm gaining as a parent that I never had before. Okay, that's a really good. I mean, because also I suppose if you got what if you got dog pigeon or sheepdog pigeons, and then you could use them to round up the other sheepdog pigeons. Would that work, or would that only work if you threw something that would attract pigeon sheep?
So, okay, you need to throw some grass in the air to attract the pigeon sheep, and then you use the pigeon sheepdog pigeons to shepherd them. Is that what they do?
I can see you really thinking this through. You're an expert. You've done this before.
Yeah, absolutely. I have. I took part in one monkey man and his sheepdog trials last year, which is mostly just a man in a field whistling at some really mutated birds.
Wow. And how did that end? Did you win, or?
I came third because I ate one of my sheep pigeons.
That's horrific. Ben.
Yeah.
That's actually,
It was really, but it went really nicely
pretty-
with the breadsticks.
That's disgusting. That's made me purple kitten sick.
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry.
Would dinosaurs be friends with the Pope?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, they'd be good friends.
Yeah. Why would you assume that they might not be?
Well, because dinosaurs might do a lot of swearing in Latin because they're like, "No, I'm extinct." Glorious.
Sure.
Oh, and he's from Rome, so
Yeah, and the Pope doesn't like swearing.
No, he doesn't.
So if
He'd
a load of
never
extinct
say.
dinosaurs turned up and started swearing about being extinct, the Pope would get pretty angry about it.
He would get very angry about it.
Get into the
Absolutely.
Pope-mobile and drive away.
But that's probably why he's got the Pope-mobile, because it's like a little bubble that you sit in, and that way you can't hear any swear words from dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost exactly why they built that, isn't it? Just to sort of
That's
protect
probably the
him
only
from...
reason, yeah.
So that as he drives past and dinosaurs go, "Rah, Pope, you're reigning gobus," and then the Pope would be like, "I didn't hear anything." I think he lives in Rome. That's his accent, and then he's protected from it. You see?
yeah.
I think that's why the Rome drives around in a little bubble. The Pope roams around in a driving little popus.
He roams around Rome.
The roams around driving Pope on the back of a dinosaur.
I actually know a family who, well, it wasn't an ugly old witch. It was a very old man. Maybe he was 100. No, not on this podcast. And he knocked on their door. This is in Bristol. He looked in pain. And the mummy said, "Oh, who are you? Are you all right?" He didn't introduce himself. He just said, "Please, can I come in? I need to use the toilet." And she thought, I can't shut the door in his face. My little boy is watching. We're not the kind of people who reject strangers when we've got a perfectly good toilet. So he came in. They were on their way for a picnic. So they packed up the car and then they all sat there waiting for the old man to come out. 20 minutes later, he emerged looking very ashamed, said, "Thank you very much." It turned out his voice was just like that. It wasn't because he needed a poo.
Oh, right. Wow.
Yeah,
Who
that was
knew?
his old voice
Yeah.
and his constipated voice. And he left. She said the smell that came out, it was solid. It was like a solid block of smell filling the house. She didn't let the kids back in. They just packed off and went to the park for a picnic.
They just lived somewhere else.
Just moved house.
Yeah, I don't think they ever went back.
Yeah,
They set up a tent in the park and now they just picnic all day.
But you see,
Yeah.
an Italian family, that would be a gift.
It could be a gift.
Exactly.
It could be a
They'd
gift.
be
And
like-
also,
He'd
he's
be seen as a magical witch.
Yeah.
I mean, also, there's an example of somebody that's forced to have a holiday for the rest of having to picnic every day because of an old man's stinky poo. Like, that's a forced holiday forever.
Is that a forced holiday or is that prison? What's the difference between a forced holiday and...
Well, it depends on if you because like as we discussed, fish like to be on mantelpieces.
Yeah.
Japanese people think that human beings should be in a zoo while monkeys watch them. Maybe there are people who think, well, I'll let an old man do a horrific stinky poo, stink out our house, and then we'll go on holiday forever. I mean, it could be, for all we know, this could be a national celebration that we're not sure about.
Some people find it very difficult to relax and need a really strong motivation to get out the door and give themselves a break. So maybe that man is actually actively employed to push them out.
Yeah, it might be Old Pooey Heath or something. That's probably like, to celebrate Old Pooey Heath. We'll leave a series of spicy crackers out for him, and I don't know what else would cause something.
Just some spicy sausage and
Day
broccoli would probably
old
do it.
curry
Bit of
and-
cabbage, yeah.
There you go.
It's bizarre.
That's amazing. Do you think it was lost by someone who maybe got to the marshmallow layer
That's
and
definitely
tucked
it.
in too much?
Yeah. That's why you don't want to eat through the marshmallow layer.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
of course. Well, you kind of do, but then you'd have to eat through the marshmallows and then do gravy, and that is the wrong way round to do dinner, if you
Yeah.
ask me.
Yeah.
And if you did ask me, that's what I'd say.
That's why we've never gone to the Earth's core.
So is it, and it was at boiling hot magma, which
Yeah.
is what eats the gravy. Is there anything beneath that or in
It's
the middle
the
of
one
that?
tooth.
Oh, the one
It's
tooth's right in the middle of the core.
of it all. Yeah.
And how does it stay not melted?
It's it's a very, very strong tooth.
It must be.
Yeah,
It must
it's
be.
the kind of tooth where if you drink a hot drink,
Yeah.
or a very cold thing, and sometimes you're like, oh,
Yes,
oh,
yes.
that tooth has never been like that.
That's amazing.
It's an incredible
But
tooth.
somehow it still needed a filling.
Yeah.
So who did that filling? It must have been some mega worm or some sort of mighty
Well, that's the
hero.
question that we're still struggling with.
That is very difficult, isn't it? And that's as an archaeologist, that's what you hope to find out one day.
Oh, we just deal with the top bits.
So who does archaeologists for top bits, and then sort of
paleodentists.
paleodentists?
Yeah, people who are looking at dentists from before dinosaurs.
Sure. And then do you
Dinosaur
have like
dentists.
dinosaur dentists?
Yeah.
Of course. Which is they had a lot of teeth, so it's a lot of work, isn't it?
Cool. Yeah. And
Yeah.
they're always trying to eat you. It's a very dangerous job.
Sure, but I guess most
Yeah.
dinosaur dentists now deal with dinosaurs that aren't around anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But at the time, you had to distract the dinosaur, do the dental work when it's looking the wrong way, and then get away before it eats you.
That's really tricky.
Yes.
Well, I'm trying to think how I would distract a dinosaur. I think I'd probably start by going, "Oi, dinosaur, look over there."
Yeah.
And if that didn't work,
Yeah. You go as a pair, right?
Yeah.
And then you say, "Oi, dinosaur, look over there." And then to be sure, you turn to your friend and you say, "Do you think he saw us?"
Oh, that's good. The Do You Think Saurus, of course, is actually a very famous dinosaur.
Yes.
Very poor eyesight.
Very poor eyesight.
Very poor eyesight, but massive, massive mouth.
And great teeth because he could never see the dentist.
Yes, of course, but also meant that it was unable to brush them properly. Couldn't find a toothbrush.
No.
Had to clean them on various bark and trees.
Just
and
rubbing its
small
face on
animals,
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
On
which
the
is-
back of a stegosaurus.
I understand they found quite a lot of Do You Think He Saw Us rubbings, haven't they, from where his face was just rubbed against rocks
just
and
a lot of
trees
face rubbings.
Yeah, it's really awkward. I sort of always feel sorry for dinosaurs because they didn't have it very easy. Do You Think Saurus couldn't see properly? Tyrannosaurus Rex couldn't hold anything.
Tiny arms.
Exactly. Raptors had to rap all the time. It's tricky. There's always something they had to be doing, and then they put all that hard work in. and pterodactyl, full of terror all the time.
Yeah.
And then they just die. Then an asteroid hits them and goes, nah, not good enough. Boof.
Yeah, they had a lot going on.
Did have a lot going on. You've got to think about the dinosaurs. Bad teeth.
Bad teeth.
Yeah, and that's why you've got to go to the dentist, kids. So your teeth doesn't end up in the middle of the earth.
Don't try and eat them, though.
Don't try. Yeah, that's very true. Don't try and eat the dentist. But I wouldn't have thought they're very tasty.
No, I can't imagine so.
No. It'd be difficult to get through the sort of glasses they were.
Yeah.
Quite thick plastic.
You spend most of the time just chewing on glasses.
Yeah, it sounds awful.
Oh.
First of all, would you rather have snooker balls for eyes or dominoes for teeth?
Oh my goodness, that's very interesting. Hang on, if dominoes for teeth, if like somebody knocks one of your teeth, do they all fall down?
Very good.
Yeah, that is an issue, but they all fall down in order.
And also, are they teeth-sized dominoes or are they domino-sized dominoes? Are they absolutely massive? Like, would your mouth be really overcrowded?
They are domino-sized dominoes.
Oh my goodness! But then you could maybe lock them all over when you want to have like some soup, and then put them all back up when you really need to chew on something. I quite like that. And with snooker balls for eyes, can you still see through them?
Yes, that was my question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes.
Could I have, if I had the snooker balls for eyes, could they come from two different sets? So, for example, could I have two blue ones, for example? Or would I have to have, say, a blue and a pink? Or a blue and a red? Does it all have to come from one set?
Well, no, what it is, they're interchangeable. So you've got to start with like a white and a red, and then if you want to get one of the coloured ones,
You have to knock the red across.
Yes.
Very good. I'd do that.
Brilliant.
Yes.
That sounds really good. And I guess as well, it can only be snooker balls, it can't be pool balls.
Yes.
Okay, that's tricky. But yeah, I don't know. I quite like the idea of domino teeth. I quite like the idea of knocking them down for different foods and picking them back up. The only thing I wouldn't want is such a full mouth. And it would take a very long time to brush.
Also, the really difficult thing is if you have a number that matches on the top and bottom tooth and the teeth just disappear.
Yeah. It's also like, do I want somebody to come up and randomly slam one of my teeth, or do I want somebody to try and hit one of my eyes with a snooker cue? And I think I'd prefer the teeth thing, so I'm gonna go for teeth.
Yeah,
You might get spinach, though, stuck in the little, the white bits on the dominoes.
But then I just knock them all down,
Very good.
and then I can just sort of So I think that's where the
Both
bonus
is a game face, though, isn't it?
It is a game face, absolutely brilliant, absolutely, of course.
Radio nonsense.
So I wanted to read you this before we wrap up this question. This is one of the first mentions of football. It was mentioned in 1486 in a book by Dame Juliana Berners in her Book of St Albans, and it states, "A certain roundy instrument to play with. It is an instrument for the footy, and then it is called in Latin pila pedalis a football." What do you make of that?
I mean, I just love that accent, whatever you're doing. It's really fun.
It's my old English accent.
A hoity-toity woman?
It was just a person from 1486.
Oh, of course
I believe that's how they all spoke back then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, I am from 1486.
The hoity-toities.
Yeah. That's it.
Were
I've
they all
studied this.
Swedish as well?
Well, it's sort of just excitable.
Right, okay.
I think that's just how it was, wasn't it?
Okay.
Hello, can I have some bready?
Brady.
Before I kick my football at this
Football.
chalk, and
Right.
you know it's just how they spoke, and then obviously that's developed into modern language.
And that's why chickens sound like they do, because they're all Swedish.
Yeah.
Clack clack.
Look.
Absolutely. See,
Yeah.
what's lovely is, as we've discovered over the course of this show, everything is connected. Everything is connected. Everything we've mentioned, just history, it all comes together to work out whether a car's haunted by cheese or a chicken plays football. It's all there, isn't it? All the answers.
What a tangled web we've woven.
Absolutely. And it's really confused a spider.
And we haven't mentioned giggle flaps at any point.
Helen! Unbelievable. Well, there you go. I hope you now feel even wiser than before, or if nothing else, laugh till you fell over. That is definitely the end of the Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense for this season, but we will be back hopefully later in the year, and we will need suggestions from you so that we'll have something to talk about. You know the drill. It's something people used to do DIY with, but you also know that what we need is topics or questions, good ways to start or end the podcast, and of course any self-written jokes that you'd like us to read out. Send all of that to podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk with the help of your nearest elongated child. Sorry, I mean grown up.
Don't forget, we also have Comedy Club for Kids shows all over the country, and I'll also be touring the kids show How Does This Politics Thing Work Then all over the place too. So please find out when we're near you and come along and shout something at us. Not anything too rude though, like lobster sick or something, because that would be awful and everyone would cry. See you soon, except we won't because this is audio. Hear you soon? No, wait, you'll hear us. That doesn't really work, does it? This is complicated. Be heard by you soon? Yeah, that's it. It's not very catchy. Take care, and whatever you do, don't poke a buffalo in the eye, call your teacher a turnip-faced recycling shed, and make sure you don't fall into any giant shoes. Bye! You have been listening to Comedy Club for Kids Presents. Radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense. It's the end. Lobster sick!